Hi everyone! Today we're doing a demo for one of my favorite recipes. It goes great as a side dish, it goes great with breakfast with scrambled eggs, and it's very healthy, very nutritionally beneficial. It's a Mediterranean vegetable medley with garlic and feta. So you're going to want 2 zucchinis, 1 red onion, 1 head of garlic, 1 yellow bell pepper, and a pint of cherry tomatoes. And first thing you always need to do is wash your produce. Always wash your produce. I have already washed these, and now we're going to start cutting them up into 1-inch thick pieces, and we will be back right after I am done with that. Okay, now that we have all of our ingredients cut up, we have our zucchinis here that are cut into halves, and what we're gonna do is go ahead and add those into a big mixing bowl that we have here. So go ahead and add these zucchinis in. Try to cut the produce as evenly as possible. That way it'll all cook evenly. Also make sure to preheat your oven to 425 degrees before doing anything else. So I have my oven preheating right now, and it will finish as we start doing this step. So next I have my bell pepper, yellow bell pepper. Make sure they're about this size, or at least just even. I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the same red bowl I added the zucchini to. And we have our red onion here, also cut into even slices here. We can just go ahead and add all of these to the same big mixing bowl. We're gonna add our tomatoes as well, which we do not cut because they are cherry tomatoes, so they are free to just stay small. So we have our cherry tomatoes. We're just gonna add those right in. So at this point, you should have a pretty full bowl of all these different vegetables. And what we're gonna do is take 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which I have already measured out right here. Go ahead and add that to the bowl. And if you find yourself needing more olive oil, feel free to add as much as you need. Make sure that it has an even light coat on all of the vegetables. Of course, if you add more olive oil, it will change the nutrition though, so remember that. But olive oil is a very, very good source of healthy fats, so that's not a problem. You have your spice blend. So this is a teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of black pepper, and a half teaspoon of Italian seasoning. So we're gonna go ahead and add that into the bowl as well. And then we're just going to take, you can use a spoon if you want, a big serving spoon. I prefer to just use my hands. Of course, my hands are washed. Make sure you always wash your hands before prepping or cooking anything, just for food safety's sake. So we're just gonna take this and start mixing it around, and then once it's thoroughly mixed, we can start putting it on our pans. Now I would recommend using 1 big sheet pan if you have it, but if you don't have it, you can use 2 smaller sheet pans. That's totally fine. That is what I'm using. Just make sure you check on your vegetables regularly. So as soon as I am done mixing here, we will show you the process of putting that onto the pans, putting them in the oven, and how to position it all. Okay, now that we have all of our ingredients thoroughly mixed in this bowl with all the spices and all the olive oil on it, we're gonna evenly distribute them between these 2 pans. Again, it's preferable to use a larger pan, but I don't have that on hand, so I'm just going to use 2 of them. It is optional to use cooking spray to grease your pans. You don't have to grease your pans. The olive oil should be enough to have them greased, but I prefer just a little extra just in case. So you can just take your oil and just spray it across the bottom of the pans, just like that. Now make sure you have your garlic with the head cut off. Do not cut this into even bits, just have the whole head just with the head of it cut off so you can expose all those cloves, because those cloves are going to be getting the vegetables super, super flavorful as they all cook and caramelize together. Now, I did have to use a little bit more olive oil to evenly coat these vegetables. Again, that will change the nutrition. I used about half a tablespoon more, so just keep that in mind. But I'm going to grab these and just evenly distribute them. You do not want your vegetables to be touching each other all that much. You only need one layer. You should only have one layer of vegetables, or else you're going to end up with some soggy ones, which we don't like. We want them nice and charred and crispy. So we're going to just evenly spread them out like that. Beautiful little medley we have going on. And we have more. You can also do these in separate batches if needed, which it looks like I may need to do, just based on how many vegetables I have here. I'm gonna try to get it all in one batch, but do not be afraid to do multiple of them just in case, because again, always better safe than sorry when it comes to roasting your vegetables and giving them enough space to really, really caramelize and crisp up, as opposed to having more steamed vegetables that are going to be a little more soft. So as we can see, we have our even batches of one layer each. And with our garlic, we are just going to put that right in the middle of, I chose the big pan just because it has more on it. So I want, you know, those flavors to be more garlicky since there's more vegetables. But I will show you how we're gonna evenly distribute this garlic later. For now, just know garlic head in the middle of whatever pan you're using. It's optional to also drizzle a little bit of extra olive oil over the garlic to help it kind of cook evenly. I'm going to do as little as possible. Show you. Just like that. Kind of just let it get in the middle of that garlic. So that looks perfect. Our oven is preheated now to 425. So we can go ahead and pop these right in the oven, which I am going to do now. So we have our oven right here. Just gonna put it on. I prefer always using the middle of the oven, so I have my top rack moved to the middle, and I'm just gonna put my vegetable medley on that top rack. Now I am going to go ahead and put this one in the oven as well. You can either wait for the first batch to cook before you put in the second one. It is going to change the cooking time a little bit, and this batch, because it's gonna be on the lower side of the oven, should be cooking a little faster, so I will have to check on it. Our cooking time is 20 minutes to 25 minutes, but I would recommend just checking on it after 15 minutes because we will need to do something with our garlic, which I will show you later, and you're going to want to kind of evenly mix around those vegetables to make sure they're all getting cooked evenly. So I will see you back in 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes. Welcome back. It has been about 25 minutes since putting these in the oven. Like I said, it took a little bit longer time to cook because there were two different pans in there. So what we are going to do now is grab a spatula or a spoon, anything with a tong, anything you can use to really move around these vegetables. Go ahead and spread them around. You know, make sure that they end up a little even, just like that. Perfect, and this looks like some beautiful roasted vegetable. I'm mainly spreading them around to make sure they don't stick to the pan. Since I just took them out, they'll be a little easier now. And if you notice, especially on this smaller pan where there's more of the red onion, it has this beautiful caramelization going on, which, again, if you don't like that kind of caramelization and that, you know, kind of roasting, then if you put more vegetables on it or put less olive oil on it, then it will be less browned. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to take our garlic, see if it's still hot. It doesn't feel like it. So we're going to take this and just really squeeze out these cloves. Get as much flavor through here as possible. It still is a little hot, so definitely be careful. You don't want to burn yourself, and if it ends up being too hot, then you can always put it down and come back later. But I'm just going to take a clove out just like that, put it back in with the vegetables, and I'm going to keep doing that for each individual clove of garlic. That way it can sit and kind of blend with all the vegetables more, and then just keep an eye on where they are. You know, make sure if you don't like super garlicky food, make sure you take them out before serving. But if they rest on this pan with all the veggies, then they should absorb some of the flavor. So that's what I'm going to be doing. We will come back when they've been resting for a minute and I have all the garlic evenly spread. Okay, now that I have distributed the garlic out and we have one pan, I just combined all the vegetables because they cook down onto a single pan. At this point, when it's been resting with the garlic for a minute, you have the option of taking the garlic back out if you don't like garlic that much. I might take some of the bigger pieces out, like this one, so I don't bite into that. But for the most part, I love garlic, so I'm gonna leave the cloves in there, especially because I am going to store most of this for later. So that way all the garlic can really get its flavors into the rest of the vegetables. But now it's time for our final step, which is adding the 1/4 cup of feta cheese crumbles. So I'm just going to sprinkle this on like so. If you have any big clumps like this one, then feel free to just take your fingers and more evenly spread it out. Perfect. And then you have your easy one pan vegetable medley. So does that look good? I think it looks really good. So now you're free to take this, serve it to family, friends, and enjoy.